Hello, everyone. Here we are. It is another spotlight, and we have another guest here. Thank you so much for everyone who is here. If you're here watching, let us know in the comments, and or if you're watching a replay afterwards, also then, of course, let us know in the comments. So today we have Abs, and Abs is an absolutely inspiring human being. I was so inspired when we had a chance to chat that I was like, okay, well, he has to come here and share his story because it is so inspiring to many people who come from sports, especially. So either you're an athlete or you're a lot into sports throughout your whole life, and a lot of people then think that they have to give that up when they come to a certain age and kind of move to some proper whatever profession or field, and that's not the case. If you feel like, and I'm going to let Abs tell his story, but this is to be an inspiration and to provide kind of a maybe a guiding light to somebody saying, look, you can make your dreams or your passion into your profession. And so, yes, welcome, Abs. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
Tell us a
So
little bit about you. Like, where do you come from? And I mean, what do you do now? Kind of let's start from there.
I went to college for computer engineering at Virginia Tech from 2014 to 2019. Currently live in Blacksburg, Virginia. That's where VT is, and then right now I'm a sports writer and editor. The official title is assistant sports editor at Sports Radio America.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That what a title and what a privilege to be able to report and write and tell stories from sports, right?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I've always been passionate about sports. It's really interesting to see it as like a job and a career path. I mean, there's so many people like even in my like friends and stuff who've told me about how they can't really pursue their passions, or like other stories that I've heard, like family friends and stuff, where they're like pursuing their passions later in life. So I feel very privileged to like to be to have to call something that I've always been passionate about as my career right now, like to be in that kind of place like this early in life, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like you didn't take that traditional path, although you kind of started that where you said, okay, well, I'm going to study computer engineering and, let that be a proper whatever career.
Hmm.
However, you
Yeah.
told me that you just didn't feel like that was your thing throughout the whole 4 years of studying.
Yes, I unfortunately engineering wasn't for me. I didn't realize that until I got into like my freshman year of college, and it was, yeah. I'll just say that college wasn't the best time for me. I had to actually take 5 years to graduate instead of the normal four because I didn't do well in my classes and had to retake things so many times that I had to stay an extra full 2 semesters just to like have all the credits to graduate on time, to
Mhm.
graduate at all. And yeah, it just wasn't for me. I kind of I got into it because of my dad, because like he's a mechanical engineering professor. I wanted to kind of follow down his footsteps, uh, but that's more like a me thing, because like I didn't really know what I wanted to do in life, and
Mhm.
that's my fault, honestly. Like I should have tried to see try to go with something that I would have rather wanted to do. But then at the same time, in high school when I was taking the engineering classes, I found them fascinating. I found them interesting. I was doing well in them. So I was thinking, okay, well, I'm doing this. My dad's already in the profession, so he can help me out anytime that I have any like questions to ask and stuff. So I thought it was the normal progression, but I like it wasn't for me, and I didn't discover that sports was what I was supposed to go into until 2020. And that was actually like late 2020, October actually, because that's when I started taking a an 8 week online class at Sports Management Worldwide. And from there, like the connections that I met from that course is like how I got my first job in the sports world. It was a like an internship to be an editor and writer at a
Mhm.
company called East West Sports Network, and that wouldn't have happened if I didn't take that course. And that course wouldn't have happened if it weren't for a push from my mom,
Mhm.
because she was the main reason why I got into sports here, because she was seeing like how she saw how like college went for me. It was just a tough time for on the entire family, because like when one member's down, everyone else is also gonna feel like some of the after effects. And I mean, like she saw that I would see sports videos. I'd be on TV watching like Sports Center on ESPN and stuff. So watching normal games. So she was saying, well, if you're doing this so much, why not like look at options and see if you can find something in the sports world. So
Mhm.
then I started looking, and that's how I found that online class, and I took that. Then everything just went one thing after another, and now I'm in that position where I am.
How awesome. I think that is so inspiring that you did not follow that path, that you didn't follow, like you realized, yes, it took you 5 years to graduate from college with a degree, that you realized in your first year actually that this is not my thing. You followed through, you made it, and you're like, no, this is really not my thing. And you trusted that part of you, like that intuition, and said, look, maybe you didn't have the answers, but you are a very lucky person to have such a mother right next to you, said, look at all of this that you've always loved. You were born and you loved sports from the beginning, and how about making that a profession? And
Yes.
that's why I wanted to invite you to the show, is because not everybody has those parents. Not everybody has a mother or father or somebody else around who says, hey, look at this, and encourages them. Because often, what, for what I've heard a lot of times, I come from dance, is like,
Hmm.
oh, that's not a real job, or
Hmm.
arts or anything like that. It's like, okay, you have to look for something actual, like real.
Yeah.
However, it's just as real, right? I mean, you are now working in sports. That is your career. That's your profession.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how much, if it wasn't for your mother, do you think that you would have found your way into this world?
I think I would have been more hesitant, honestly, because it's like even when I was like thinking about should I actually stick with engineering, like, or I mean, yeah, stick with engineering as my major when I was like applying for college. I had like a minor thought in my mind, like, what if I chose sports? But then I didn't really do my research on it to see like is this a viable option. I wish I did. I wish I had like taken that chance before, but I mean it's all in the past now. All I can do is like learn from the mistakes and then hopefully have a good present and future. But yeah, like I uh, I get kind of emotional about it, because like
Hmm.
it's just I don't know. I mean, I'm glad where I am, but it's there's also like a lot of issues, because I mean because I didn't have the 4 years of education, like a bachelor's degree in this field, and every time I go into like job searches and stuff, they're saying like, okay, we like your experience and we like the things that you've written on, but we can't take you on like a on like one requirement missed, which is like the bachelor's degree in the thing. So I'm taking classes now to make up for that, for the educational part of it, and hopefully that there will be no excuses in the future. Like people can actually hire me in the end and stuff. But yeah, and like the engineering part of things, I like I for that one, I don't want to come out like looking as a like a quitter or something. I did look at options. uh I was thinking like, should I transfer to another major, but I couldn't really find anything at that point. And like everything happens, like this is just a completely different tangent, but like everything happens, everything good happens, everything easier happens after the fact in my life, because like the SATs, which were one of the hardest things that I'd taken at up to that point in college, like some exams that you have to take to get into college, they would look at your scores and see stuff. they made it easier after I already graduated high school. Like the year after my sister took it, and she was saying like this is so much easier now that they removed some of the sections and made some modifications and stuff. It was really hard during my time. And the related thing was like in college after I graduated in 2019, Virginia Tech decided to add a sports management major. So if they had that earlier, like 4 years or 5 years earlier, then I could have at least switched to it or maybe started with it there. So it's like
Hmm.
whatever, I guess.
But you know what? I mean, I do believe that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
That even, the 5 years of studying computer engineering, it has a reason. Maybe that reason hasn't unfolded yet quite. That you haven't found a reason, why did I actually do that? And why did I go through this 5 years where actually you discovered in the first year that this is not your thing. However, you did complete that, and it doesn't, like you mentioned, that you don't want to be seen as a quitter. You didn't quit. You
Yeah.
never quit that. I mean, even though you kind of knew from the beginning this is not the thing, you
Hmm.
did finish it. And I went to college and I studied business because I didn't know what I wanted. I was like, well, that's like the widest, broadest thing that you can ever study is business, because it's like it's totally not specific to anything, right? And it took me, well, I'm quite a bit older, so I graduated in 2000, and it took me about 20 years to figure out why I studied business. Oh, how that, like, well, it did kind of have its ways to understand business when I was working at a company, but especially since I started my own company and I run a business, it makes sense, even though I studied like way back when, but it never made any sense. I never knew why. And I was like, what a waste of time. It wasn't a waste of time. I mean, I learned a lot also outside of the classes, right?
Yeah.
But I think that also those 5 years, they've made you who you are now. They've made you in weird ways also the kind of writer you are, the kind of editor you are, how you watch things, how you analyze things, what the kind of questions that you would ask people. I think that all of that plays a role.
Hmm.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I'm like, I'd be happy with that because, uh, yeah, I try to just in general, I try to like stay away from the status quo. I don't like doing what everyone else is doing. I want to be my own individual self. So that already like I guess has always been like a factor in my life. I tried like my mom says like, oh, you're doing everything like on the opposite side of like what you're supposed to be doing, and I'm just like, well, I mean that's just who I am. I want to be unique to myself, good or bad, but obviously more to the towards the good side of things.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I guess yeah, like there are different types of analysis that goes into things, and I do definitely look at sports in a different light, in a different view, or like a different
Hmm.
lens. So yeah, maybe some of my like things that I learned during college has imparted itself onto me, and it's like it affects my analysis and stuff.
Exactly. I do believe that. And then also like the when some people say requirement is a bachelor's degree, well, you're just a brilliant professional in your field, and it doesn't, diploma doesn't make you good or better, right? It's
Hmm.
only what you do with what you have, and what
Yes.
you are doing with what you have is pretty brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, there's still so much to learn. I'll never be able to call myself an expert in this field because I'm always open to learning. I feel like because even now, like even like 4 years into this career, almost four, I still feel like I'm learning new things, new perspectives, new viewpoints, new ways of looking at sports. Like even now, like maybe it's a part of the thing that you're saying, like what like the lessons that I learned in college, like it's imparting a different viewpoint like now and stuff. I'm like constantly finding different things about sports that I didn't know about before, and now it's just making me wanting to learn them more. And I just feel like that's never gonna go away. Like especially being in my position where I didn't have those 4 years of that bachelor's degree, so like I'm learning that kind of stuff, and I'm like constantly like finding new things, and like as like AI and technology gets more involved in sports, I'm sure there can be a lot more things readily available to anybody like who wants to learn and research about sports and stuff. And
Yeah.
that's where I'm also trending towards.
Yeah. Also, and then what do you then do with all that information, right? Like, how do
Yes.
you turn it around? Which you turned around the course that you signed up for,
Mhm.
you know, well done. Yeah. Not only did you do the course, but you got a job.
Yeah, and they weren't related. The job was for, I mean, the yeah, my first job was yeah, an internship as a sports editor and writer. It was actually just supposed to be sports editing, and then like the person who I met in the class that I took in 2020, uh, who's actually the reason why I got the job, because on LinkedIn, like, yeah, another thing is I don't really have any social media, and it took me a long time to get even on LinkedIn. But I was seeing when I was taking that course that like everybody else, every like because like a part of our course was that like homework that we had to do was we'd have to interview people, and
Hmm.
I'd see on like the information contact information of the people I was supposed to
Hmm.
talk to, there was always like a thing that said LinkedIn. So I would ask my dad about like what is that and stuff, and then I found out it was like a more professional form of like social media platform. And I knew like all that it could have done for me and my career, and it really has. Like I got my first two jobs because of LinkedIn. I got to meet people like you through LinkedIn. None of that would have happened if I hadn't joined in 2021. And like that's also where I got how I got my first job, because I would see like the person that I took a class with post his articles on LinkedIn, and sometimes it was on my favorite team, the Eagles, and we. I'd just notice some silly mistakes, like some spelling and grammar things, and I'd give him some advice, or like tell him to go check out grammarly.com and like try to use that to just
Hmm.
get, because like he's getting like the general points out, but they're like the little mistakes kind of makes it a difficult read sometimes. So he was just really happy about that advice, and he was like, well, like there's an editing position available at my company, so why not, like, what if I ask my boss, like, if you want to join in that position? And that's how I got in.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, it's just like one thing that rolled into another, and like, but like, yeah, LinkedIn has been great for me. Like I've met so many people through it. I've gotten so many opportunities to work with people through it, uh jobs, and a lot of other things, being on shows, being guests on podcasts, and like being interviewed, stuff like that.
Hmm. So what would you say, like with all of that, what would you say, tell somebody who's like, let's say they're in high school or maybe in college or, just young, and maybe there is some social or family pressure of, okay, well, you have to look for a real job. And this, this interest in sports is just an interest. Like, of course, you can continue that any time in your life. But then there are the people like you who say, well, no, this is my, like this is so in my heart that I need to contribute. Like this is the way that I can contribute to this world is through sports. And in this way, not being an athlete, or a coach or a trainer or something, but I contribute to the world of sports through my writing, my editing, through reporting, and there are so many other ways that so many other jobs that are related to sports. That what would you tell someone who's like maybe contemplating, thinking, I don't know, but this feels like it's my thing.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be really passionate about it. Like, do all the background research. Like, don't be like me, like learn from my mistakes. Like actually, if this is something that you want to pursue, make sure you know like all the ins and outs of it. uh like you have to be really passionate. You can't just like make it into this field and like waffle or stuff like that. You have to always be willing to learn, willing to like accept that there are things out there that like I mean, I guess basically what I'm trying to say is like you can't ever be shut off. Like you have to like have an open mind. Make sure that like that you can adapt. You have to have a very big adaptability sense, like, because sometimes, like, in my organization, like, we have meetings about how sometimes the riders aren't getting enough views and stuff. Maybe we should try to go into like audio or video things. So yeah, that's a new thing that I'm learning right now, like how to get, like, if I can create my own interview series, or like create
Mhm.
more like audio video content. So there's a lot of adaptability. You have to learn a lot of things. You have to always be willing to, like, to to assert yourself in the field. Like, I haven't done that yet, like, but I feel like i've I found like enough of a following, like, enough people, like, who respond to me on in my comments, or like in other like personal life and stuff, who say that you're doing a good enough job. Like, that wouldn't have happened if you did. Like, you have to also, I think, above all others, you just have to be original. You have to be your authentic, genuine self. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not trying to be like, I'm not trying to. I may look at stuff on like Sports Center or ESPN and stuff, but like, I don't always agree with those views. Sometimes I try to write about my own perspectives and opinions and
Mhm.
stuff, but and that helps, because sometimes some people are like, wait, that was a really out of the box idea, I never thought about it that way. And that's basically how I, like, the mentality that I go into like any sports topics and stuff. Like, how can I create a different perspective, look at things outside the box, like, because every of the one of the talking heads are saying the same things. It's almost like regurgitating and repeating the same information.
Mhm.
So how can you, like, stand out in that field, especially since, like, everyone is getting into like the media field, like everyone has a podcast, everyone has a show, like, there's so many voices out there. How can you stand out? You have to be your,
Mhm.
if you're authentic and genuine, then people will see that, okay, you, like, it might be the same topic, but he has a different viewpoint, he has a different view set of, he or she, I mean, I'm not just, I was saying like he because of me, but yeah, like, if you have a different, like, unique viewpoint and stuff, then, like, uh, that's basically how you can make it, like. And
Mhm.
also, yeah, you have to just, you have to, this is, you have to live, breathe, and eat sports like all day, like, or not even sports, like, arts, any of the fields that, like, maybe your family might not want
Mhm.
you to do. Like, if you're absolutely ultra passionate about it, then you can make them, like, backtrack on their thoughts and think that, okay, well, like, my child has shown, like, that they really want to do this, and I don't think I can stop them anymore. Like, that's what
Mhm.
you have to do. You have to have that constant energy, that constant excitement. You have to, like, overturn other people's feelings about
Mhm.
the thing they may not might want you to do.
Yeah, thank you. So I think it just, you have to absolutely, you yourself have to believe in yourself,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Because if you
yes,
don't, who else is gonna? If you
yeah,
want to convince somebody that this is the way and they are convinced of another way, you have
mhm,
to believe, right?
yes,
So
exactly.
yeah, thank you so much. And now, if someone would like to, either get in touch with you or read something, or, discover some of the things that you do, where is
Mhm.
the best way to get in touch with you?
LinkedIn, because I still don't have any social media. I don't plan on making any other accounts. Uh, I can share my LinkedIn link afterwards.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's basically like any article for any organization I've written. Like, I've always made posts about it. I have saved posts, so like people can go into my profile and like see things from my from various years that I've written.
Mm.
So that's basically, I think, where most of my like main information are. And if I, for some reason, if I haven't put any articles or like posts on there, then you can go to my Sports Radio America page, author page, and then you can find all my articles there.
Mhm.
Again, I'll
Okay,
send.
great. Thank you. So thank you so much for being here. It's already like 24 minutes, so that's how fast the time goes, right?
Yeah.
But it is so inspiring. Thank you so much for being here, being a guest, and bringing your light here. And hopefully, somebody out there has been like, "Oh yes, well, I believe that I can do it too." Make a
Yes.
career in sports, and find your way, and remember to be yourself, right?
Yes.
So thank you so much, and thank you everyone who's been watching. And please share the video. This will be posted now as posts in many different ways, and And yeah, next week we'll have another guest. So I look forward to that. And thank you so much, Abs. And yeah, we'll be talking, I'm sure, very soon.
Yes. Thank you.